Hey, what do you know? We're trying something different. Uh, so I just got out of the abyss. Well, not just got out of, but for a few minutes now, I've been out of the abyss. Pulled myself out of there. And the good news about going into the abyss is that every time you come out, you get a little bit more confident and stronger about the future. Not really strong. I think confidence is the better word. You definitely feel a little bit more optimistic about how everything's going to be turning out. At least in my experience, when you go down into the abyss. Now, y'all may be wondering, what is the abyss? What is this guy talking about? Well, we're not going to go into the details because that's a little bit too gritty, a little bit too graphic. But all you need to know, Danny made some mistakes, and now Danny's going to go ahead and do the right thing. Now, how's he going to do that? Well, for starters, we're going to set the bar so incredibly low it's sickening. Because the past few days now have not been writing. Now, the reason for that was because my mind was preoccupied with a particularly stupid thing, and so my overall motivation to do anything was just completely shot. But now that that's gone, how we're going to do it is we're just going to be basically writing 5 minutes tomorrow, and then the day after that 6 minutes, then the day after that 7 minutes, and we're just going to keep doing that until this first book's done. And that may sound like a ridiculously long amount of time it's going to take. You're not entirely wrong about that, but I did the math and I plugged it into an AI generator, and I think it's only going to take about maybe 5 months to get the whole thing wrapped up if we do it this way. And frankly, I don't think that's the worst possible outcome. 5 whole months, I mean, for a guy who's never done this before and has no discipline, that's not the worst outcome. And it's such an unbelievably easy thing to do. I mean, hell, how am I going to cock that up? Like, for the first month, we're not even going to be at over 40 minutes in length per day, dude. So yeah, we're going to do that. And for the other thing, which is losing weight, I'm not certain how we're going to do that. We're probably going to have to do something similar, but I'm not too worried about that because, frankly, I was able to lose a bunch of weight in high school just from cold turkey and the son of a bitch. And I even did it last year. So I figure once the summer starts to roll on, it's going to get even easier. Because, frankly, I'm kind of sick and tired of people seeing my nipples through the shirt. It's not exactly a sightly thing. Man, my voice is fucked up. You want to know why? Because the first thing I did when I walked in my house 2 seconds ago was do a Trump impression saying, "Nicholas, where's Daddy's oil? I need it." And even now that kind of hurts my throat. So, quick lesson in life, don't do Daddy Trump voices. Anything else to really say? Not really. I mean, today was a day all about learning how to be, I don't know. It wasn't really a day about learning. It was just kind of more like a realization of like, oh yeah, this is where the root of all these other things come from, which is resistance. Now the distraction, which was the sin, it has its own unique method of propagating and getting to me, but the whole entire core presupposition behind that is just me not wanting to work. And so if I can simply work, we'll be able to eliminate it. And another good thing about doing actual real work and doing things that you respect about yourself is that you start to respect yourself the more things you do that are esteemable. You know, that's kind of the big mistake. Because if you are somebody who doesn't respect themselves, then you're not going to have any motivation or propagation to actually make any forward progress. And so you kind of need to stack up these smaller victories until you establish that level of self-esteem, so that way you can actually snowball into other things. At least that's kind of how I viewed it. Or I read a video today, and the guy broke it down pretty good. Mr. Father Moses, he did a pretty good job explaining it. But yeah, that's what I'm just going to do. I got to basically just become a person, because I've been struggling lately with this whole notion of why bother, Now, granted, the why bother emotion usually stems from the fact that your brain is being hyper front-loaded. All your dopamine's basically being plummeted because of this super stimuli vileness. And so as a result, you can't really think clearly or assign any value to anything because it's just not flowing there anymore. But I think it stems from this notion of just if you feel like you are just an absolute piece of shit who keeps doing piece of shit activities, you're just basically reconfirming that, going into this endless spiral loop where you don't do anything done. So you basically just have to, instead of doing what I've been doing, which is to say, just do an hour of this, and then you're done. No, we got to set the bar so incredibly low, it would be embarrassing not to do it. And, that's what we're going to do. And, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So check out some Jimmy Buffett, why don't you?